to check at what other countries have done in terms of the responses. And this has been also informed by their level of taxation and levies even before the disruption happened. And I feel we are in a good space to adopt my proposals. Because, as I said before, we can just say we need revenue, which is okay. We need revenue as government. But revenue always comes at a cost. At what cost to the entire economy? And therefore, I want to persuade all of us that we go on the route of being interventionists other than being laissez-faire, so that we can do much more than has been done. There are some few interventions that have already been done, but I feel those are not far-reaching enough. As we check even in our VAT Act, you realize that my proposal, to a large extent, some of the things I'm proposing are not outliers in history and comparisons. There is a time you are at where I'm proposing. Before 2024, sorry, we were at the level of RMLF that I'm proposing we go back to. Previously, in our country, we have been at the base I'm talking about in terms of VAT. So we can actually benchmark within ourselves as Kenya, that we have been there before. So what you are asking for is not an outlier, even when we compare various situations in history. The other thing is that Parliament, the reason why we are elected and we don't meet, we meet in perpetuity, is because the reasoning, because the economy also have intelligence, just as the country, is that situations change. And the more the reason we are elected as members of Parliament, as permanent members. Permanent means in the term of 5 years, we don't meet, let's say, once a year. It is for a situation like this, that when we realize that there is a situation that needs us to change laws, then we invoke that responsibility. And that is what I'm tapping into. However, lastly, Chair, because I would also want to leave all the other minutes for members to interact in terms of questions, I have to say that I envied the church when they were here, because on this side of stakeholders, the church came in unison, from Anglican Church to evangelicals. I am feeling very lonely here, being just alone. And I am requesting the members of Parliament, we are talking the same language. There is only too much one member of Parliament can do. And I say so because, Chairman, I have appeared before this committee before, earlier this year. And that issue that we were proposing back then was about Safaricom. 15% GOK sale of Safaricom. And as I said before this committee, is that some of the alternatives and proposals we give are not just concrete opposition sentiments, the way you just become concrete and immovable. We give them as alternatives. And we don't give them because we know better than anyone else. It is because out of many opinions, the best may emerge. And I am glad even after appearing on the issue of Safaricom, which again I was all alone, the court actually have sided with the exact proposals that I brought before this committee. And that's the reason GOK has not received the money from the buyers. So even as I come to give these proposals today, I am not coming here because I am different. I am coming here because I am one of you as members of Parliament, and I am one of the Kenyans. I commend Kenyans for the many proposals they sent me on WhatsApp and messages, and I request my colleagues to also join that clarion call by Kenyans that we do something about lowering the fuel prices. If we adopt all the proposals that I gave, namely reduction of margins, may not be the domain of this committee. Secondly is subsidies. That's not the domain of this committee either. Lowering VAT and tax exempting fuel products, which is a domain of this committee, and lowering levies, which is a domain of this committee. If we do that and we pass it in Parliament, the following day, super petrol prices will be 187 shillings in Kenya, and diesel will be around 189 shillings. And I believe from Turkana, Dr. Aliko, to Molo, Chairman, the people of Molo, to the people of Imenti, I mean, they all want those kind of prices in terms of lower prices. Chairman, I submit, and I want to thank you and all the members.
I thank you very much, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, my colleague from years back. You know, sometimes I miss when, because now I used to do the bad job of raising revenue and used to do the easy job of sharing. That time you're not as vocal as you are now. But anyway, that is one under the bridge. So we have agreed, you know, at least you have the advantage of presenting at the floor of the House. So we've agreed with members that we will minimize the interactions so that we can actually debate and give this opportunity to stakeholders that will not have a chance to speak at the floor of the House. But I'd like to just say two things that you may not have mentioned. The RMLF that you're posing to reduce, I want you to pull up that schedule of RMLF. So it's important that Kenyans know this levy that we call RMLF, what does it go to do? This is the money that goes to repair our rural roads across the country. And there, I think that print is too small. You want to just for the budget of 24-25 alone, there was 3.68 billion shillings that went across the 47 different counties in the country to repair the roads, so that the people in Turi, in my constituency, are able to take their produce from the farm to the market. And this money is one of the funds that are equitably distributed across the country. Just to give an example, Mombasa received 45 million shillings. Where you come from, Murang'a received, how much is Murang'a? 94.7 million shillings. Where I come from, Nakuru received 183 million shillings. Nairobi received 120 million shillings. So which would mean, essentially, that if we reduce RMLF, the truth is, consequently, we will have to reduce the money that goes to repair our roads, our constituencies. That's number one. Number two, on the issue of exempts, okay, and again, RMLF is not the purview of this committee, but the reduction of VATs. If we go with your proposal, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, I want to tell you for a fact, if the current VAT on fuel is 8%, so if we take VAT on fuel from exempt, or from 8% standard rates to exempt, that will actually increase the price of fuel. Why am I saying that? How does exempt status work? If the current rate is 8%, so it means that importers or aggregators or whoever is involved in the fuel business will go and claim input VAT. But if we make fuel exempt, that would mean they will not be able to claim their input VAT. And that would mean that they will have to transfer the cost of their input to the consumers. So if we would take your proposal number C, reduce VAT by 8% and classify the products as exempt, all the professionals here will tell you the price of fuel would actually go up and not reduce. Anyway, those are the only two things I needed to clarify. You don't have to respond, but if you feel that you need to, you have the opportunity, and then we'll go to the next stakeholder.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I want to start with the latter one, because that's not correct. The current VAT regime in terms of fuel pricing is that they are vatable. We move from vatable to exempt to zero. Anything vatable is definitely more expensive than exempt. And anything exempt is definitely more expensive than zero. Let me finish, Chair. Through this committee, we processed a reduction of tax from 16% to 8% last month. Does it mean that this committee actually wanted the fuel prices to increase? Secondly, the other question, RMLF, what you have highlighted here is fine, but it's not in entirety. It is superficial. It is superficial in this manner. What you projected is what goes to counties. But the roads budget comes into three streams. One stream is GOK funded. The second one is externally funded budget. The third one is recurrent. And recurrent is basically what we call RMLF. And in those three budgets, they are almost actually equal. I appeared before the budget committee, and my proposal is not taking money away from the roads. It is actually rearranging. I already have on the expenditure side proposed cuts of over 100 billion shillings, with some of them will be moving from the stream of road in terms of maintenance into GOK funded, still adding up into roads. But if you check in my proposals, Chair, I have also actually included excise duty as part of my proposals. I never highlighted it a lot because it's a fallback position. It's fallback because of this. I have attended in such a committee, and the argument is the 7 shillings has been securitized. And my argument back is, who said it's securitized? Does this committee has any details? Have you ever seen any document anywhere in this committee or parliament? That is why I had a fallback position, just in case this other issue is brought forth. Again, the projection you give there, Chair, is for the money that goes into our counties. Money still used to flow in our counties and constituencies before 2024. Remember, I'm not scrapping RMLF. I'm only reducing by 7 shillings, going to what was there in the year 2024. And after reduction, we'll be adding on the other side of GOK funded budget.
Thank you very much. Parliament is we agree to disagree. And now I want to persuade you, if you strongly feel that the reduction in the budget that you have submitted to the budget committee, that once the debate comes to Parliament, you'll be able to convince the rest of your colleagues, the rest of us, to agree with your proposals. But we thank you for taking your time to come and present for this committee and doing the presentation that you've done. Thank you and have a good afternoon. Our next stakeholder is ATC. We'll have ABMT. I'm told you'll be presenting jointly as PwC. Please, you have the floor.